Hey guys. So I wanted to say this because well, I feel like it's already pretty well known by now. I don't know if it is really, but I really don't know, but basically there are there is this certain fictional matchup that has been going around recently. Well, it's been going on for a while. Actually, now that I think about it, it's a very random matchup, if I'm not gonna lie. And this kind of applies for every single fictional matchup, but I wanted to speak about this one because this one is the pinnacle of what I'm about to say, and that is that when people want a fictional matchup, they never, like, barely anyone ever does research on both sides. They only do research on one side, and maybe they'll do a minuscule amount on the other. They barely do any research. They don't even look up any other scalings on tiering systems. They don't even go to Quora or Reddit, which is possibly the worst places for scaling ever. But they barely do research on one side's feats, and they do a shit ton of research on the other side's feats. And the fight I'm talking about is Saitama versus Goku. It used to be Saitama versus... Not Saitama. It used to be Goku versus Superman, but it's changed to Saitama versus Goku. And I don't know why this one fight is so heavily argued. And by the way, when we're talking about Saitama, it's usually the OPM one, the One Punch Man, not the Terra 2, Terra 3, Terra fucking 5000. It's usually One Punch Man, and even if it is Terra 2 or Terra 3, I'm pretty sure Goku would still win because of recent scales for Goku. So, I don't know, but basically, one side either does a shit ton of research for Saitama and barely does anything for Goku, or people do a shit ton of research for Goku but barely do anything for Saitama. And it kind of pisses me off that no one is really doing anything to really figure out who would win. Goku, I'm pretty sure, would win because I've actually done my research. And base Goku would beat the ever-living fuck out of One Punch Man Saitama. Alright? Base Goku would. Alright? And I have done my research. I'm not being a hypocrite. Saitama is only solar system level to galaxy level. And Goku, first of all, past scale Goku is universal to multiversal because of that whole clash with Beerus and shit. So, yeah. Base Goku would beat the shit out of Saitama. And I know what you're thinking, but that was Super Saiyan God Goku. Well, Goku made Super Saiyan God his new base instead of, his black hair. Stupid ass, shit faced old base form. It's now, his base form is now his Super Saiyan God form, which I think is honestly really fucking busted. But that's a video for another fucking time. For now, I'm going to say this, and that, versus battles are stupid. Versus battles used to be really fun to argue about, but now it's gotten really stupid. Like, for example, some versus matchups are are very unfair. Like, unfair as shit. And some just don't do any research critically for both ends. And I know that's a lot to ask, but if you're going to do an accurate versus match, do your fucking research on both ends. Because you really won't know if the other guy is capable of beating the shit out of the other guy until you actually do your fucking research. Do your goddamn research, motherfuckers. And some people will say, well, and if you have like one side win, people will call you a fanboy of that one character. This is especially true with Goku versus Saitama. If you have Saitama win, then you're a Saitama fanboy. But if you have Goku win, then you're also a Goku fanboy. No one can agree that one side will win just because they want their side to win. They want their character to win. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm not a fanboy of this, so, yeah. And that's stupid as fuck. Because you can't just say that, then make a stupid-ass video of having one character win that beats someone that would absolutely kick their ass. Like, for example, this is a really good example, actually. Okay. Makima versus Goku. Let's say someone does that, and they say Makima wins. And they say, well, I'm not a Makima fanboy, so... Well, that doesn't really get rid of the fact that you made Makima win. This didn't actually happen, I don't think. But it's I'm using it as an example, basically. And that just because you say you're not a fanboy doesn't really make that true. You may be a fanboy without realizing it. It kind of happens. Maybe you think that this character is actually OP, but you're like a really inexperienced scaler and shit. In that case, you are probably a fanboy, without realizing it. Now, Goku can be argued to. There has been recent scales for Goku to get to outer versal, and I know that some people are gonna say, no there hasn't. Well, remember that universal clash feat that Goku has in his brand new base form? Yeah, some people argue that when Goku shook that universe, and when Goku shook the fucking universe, he also shook the afterlife, since the afterlife is a part of the universe. So, therefore, and they have some arguments for the afterlife of it being like metaphysical or something. I don't really remember. It's a long ass time ago since I've researched into that. Since I've looked into that, but they do have arguments for the afterlife to being universal, and it's not my scales. I'm gonna dive more deep into that when I have a planned video with Goku. I really will dive more into that. Basically, I'm gonna do a Goku versus Saitama to really end the argument once and for all. And I'm gonna dive more into this feat when I make that video, when I have done my research for both sides. So, yeah, and I'm not really gonna, and since I already have a plan to dive into that, I'm not really gonna dive into it here. I know that may sound kind of dumb, but whatever. Now, back to my point, everyone doesn't agree with that someone that they don't want to win would win. Like, for example, you know how Death Battle's gonna make that Gojo versus Makima thing? there are going to be several people, like, if Gojo wins, there's going to be several people who are going to say, it's biased! Everyone does that. A death battle is a perfect example for my argument, actually. If anyone has even seen the last few moments of the fight in death battle live, then they would know that there are a lot of angry children who get mad when their favorite character loses. I don't know if it's their favorite character, actually, I'm just saying that to piss them off. And I know this because I encountered one. Remember that Excalibur versus Raiden from Metal Gear? Remember that video? Well, some dumbass fucking argues that Raiden is extraversal because of, get this, PlayStation All-Stars and save files. And he argues this because everyone in PlayStation All-Stars absorb Polygon Man's power, and so thus they scale to him. I asked this motherfucker several fucking times, where does Polygon Man fucking scale? He never gave an answer. And if he's watching this right now, yeah, I was on an alt account, motherfucker. And I changed this account's name to the name that I had when I was arguing with him. He never gave any feats for Polygon Man. He only said that Raiden is extraversal because when everyone and their own endings absorbed Polygon Man, they scale to him. Well then, tell me where Polygon Man fucking scales. What are his feats? You can't argue that without giving anything. Like, if I just simply argued that, I don't know, fucking, Saitama is, I don't know, extraversal without literally giving anything, just saying, oh, he's extraversal, yep, believe me, trust, sources trust. If I just did that, you want to know how many fucking people would believe that? No one with any logical fucking sense. You can't say a character is something without giving anything for that. And you may say, well, he did give a reason. He said, he said that, he's extraversal because he absorbed Polygon Man. Well, where does Polygon Man fucking scale? What are his feats? Where does he scale? You can't say. Okay, well, I'm getting off track now. Anyways, my point is, everybody, when the character that they want to win loses, they get all batshit fucking crazy over it. A really good example are people who watch Cap edits, because I've heard several people that his fans get mad when you have an SCP lose. Well, that's a perfect example for my argument. Nobody agrees that a character will beat a character they want to win. Nobody agrees on that, and the people who do actually know who would win, sometimes when that character loses in another fight, even though they would, they get mad over that. I really don't understand why so many people can't get the fact that your character that you want to win will not always win. People argue that there's a strongest fictional character, but you want to know something? This strongest fictional character changes all the time. Like, right now, currently, someone argues that the strongest fictional character is God Fusion Goku, because he fused with real-life fucking people. And that's a really good argument. That is a really good fucking argument. But you wanna know something? God Fusion Goku fusing with real-life people could immediately become outclassed by someone who does a similar feat, but better. Now. I know there's a lot of people who don't agree with that. But the strongest fictional character changes all the fucking time. The strongest fictional character never stays. It used to be Anti-Principle. Then it was Monad. Then now it's God Fusion Goku. What's next? Is Gojo gonna become the strongest fictional character ever? What, is Gojo gonna come back to life? And is he gonna get some new groundbreaking fucking feat that makes him, like, the strongest fictional character ever? Or is Saitama gonna become the strongest fictional character ever? There's so many characters out there. In fact, I bet you right now the strongest fictional character changed right now. I bet you that someone found a new feat for another character that outclasses God Fusion Goku, Monad, Anti-Principle, all those motherfuckers. I guarantee you. Okay? And everyone is just arguing over, no, Saitama beats Goku with one punch. He's literally the one punch man. And some people will be like, no. Saitama only one punches characters who are weaker than him. If someone is above him or equal to him, he can't one-shot them like Garo. But then other people say, he was holding back on Garo. You can't say that. He was holding back. There are so many arguments. So fucking many. Everyone's gonna argue something, then that's gonna be debunked. Then they're gonna argue something else, then that's gonna be debunked. No one agrees with anything. Some people scale Spider-Man to multiversal. Some people scale him to fucking extraversal. There are so many scales for so many characters, and there are so many people arguing over which scale is right and who would win in what fight. Basically, what I'm trying to say is figure the damn thing out. Okay? Figure the damn thing out. Because, well, We just need this figured out by now. There should be at least someone who has figured it out by now. There should be. No one has. And, well, I feel like some people should have figured it out by now. Because it's stupid how we don't know where a character would actually scale by now. Because, and I know that there's, now I know there are a lot of scales and maybe one of them is correct. But the fact that there are so many characters and so many scales, we don't truly know where a character would actually scale until someone has done pure physical research for every character that exists. Okay? Unless someone has done, like, some groundbreaking fucking, research on every single character to exist, then we really don't know who would win, or where a character would actually fucking scale. Because, like I said, there are so many characters, so many scales, and we just don't know where a character would actually scale unless someone actually does that research for every character. Because for all we know, Gojo may be out of our soul when we think he's like country level or something. Maybe Gojo is extraversal or boundless or whatever the fuck. Maybe he scales fucking nowhere. Maybe Steve is planetary. Maybe Steve is outerversal. Maybe Steve is fucking boundless. Who knows? Maybe a creative mode isn't actually a game mechanic. Maybe game mechanics are actually count for scaling. Basically, I think there should be something where we know what can scale and what can't scale. Because some people say, game mechanics scale fucking nowhere. And some people say, no, they do scale somewhere. We really should know by now where, what counts for scaling and what doesn't. But I feel like we don't. So, I really do think we should know by now. And I really do think that maybe we should, that maybe, this whole, arguing over Saitama versus Goku is stupid. Like I said, so many fucking scales for both of them.